If you're not using AI as a business leader, you should. You're behind.
Yeah,
so you need to put in the work to start to do that. If you're not communicating with your consumers through messaging, you should. You'll be left behind. And if you're not building towards an agentic future, you should, because you'll be left behind.
What an incredible honor it is to attend Meta Conversations 2026 at the historic Methodist Central Hall in the heart of Westminster. This two-day event brings together 1,500 business leaders from around the world with a huge focus on enterprise AI and especially the future of business messaging. Meta have announced major new products, including Meta Business Agent, Business Discovery on WhatsApp, and the new Meta Business Agent platform, which could be a game changer for a lot of organizations. The buzz around this event is palpable. There's a real sense of excitement in the room about where AI is heading and how organizations can really begin to move beyond simple chatbots towards AI-powered agents that can genuinely drive business outcomes. Most notably, I have the opportunity to sit down with a brilliant Baroness Nicola Mendelsohn CBE, head of Global Business Group at Meta. We actually nearly did a podcast a couple of years ago, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite come together. So I was absolutely delighted when this opportunity arose. Nicola is incredibly busy through the event, so we're really grateful that she is able to take a full 30 minutes to sit down with me and discuss the new WhatsApp for Business capabilities, the major announcements from Meta Conversations 2026, and of course, enterprise AI adoption and how organizations can navigate the challenges around data, governance, and readiness as AI becomes increasingly embedded in the workplace. This is a very special episode of the Tech Leaders podcast from Central Hall in the heart of Westminster. This is Baroness Nicola Mendelsohn. So we are recording this from Meta Conversations in London. I am absolutely over the moon to be joined by the one and only Nicola Mendelsohn. Nicola, how have the last 2 days gone from your perspective?
Well, first of all, Gareth, it's amazing to be here with you. Thank you for being at the Great Hall in Westminster here together. It's been action-packed, so busy. We've had over 2,000 of our clients and partners and agency and friends coming in through the doors to learn about all things messaging and all things business agents as well. And we've had millions, literally millions of people that have been tuning in on the live stream as well. So all I can say is it's been action-packed. And I think everyone's going to leave a bit exhausted, but very elated.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's definitely a buzz of excitement around here, which is quite evident and quite inspiring, actually. And it feels like it's an exciting time, especially for Meta, but generally speaking as well. I just wanted to pull you up on something there. What an incredible location. Did you pick this location? It's a fab idea.
It was not my choice of location, but once I knew about it, I was really excited. All credit there goes to our international marketing team for finding it.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was a lot of history with this building. I know it was the first United Nations Council was held here, and it was actually set up as a building to basically talk about societal change. And societal change is something that is happening right now as a result, partly because of technology innovation. So it's a very apt location for where we are right now. But Nicola, for the listeners who are not familiar with yourself, could you give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself, why you got into the tech sector, and also why you joined Meta and how the last couple of years have gone with Meta?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So my name's Nicola Mendelsohn. I run the Global Business Group at Meta, and I actually do that now from New York. I moved over 4 years ago there. I've been with the company almost 13 years in a couple of weeks' time. I originally joined as the Vice President of Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And as I said, 4 years ago, I came 5 now, I think, to run the global business. I've always been obsessed with technology from as far back as I can remember, originally as a gamer and then more and more about how it works in marketing and advertising. So before I joined Meta, I had 20 something years in advertising, working at agencies like Bottle Bogle Hegarty, Grey, and then latterly my own business, Karmarama, before I came here.
Fantastic. So going on to this event then, what are the key takeaways that you've wanted the attendees to walk away with at the end of the 2 days?
Well, there's a few actually. So we've been doing conversations for a number of years now, and it's really been all focused around all things messaging. Across the Facebook and Meta family of apps and services, we have over 3.5 billion people that are coming onto our platforms every single day. This is a huge number of people.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we see with WhatsApp now that has 3 billion monthly users on it. There's always been a clamor to go, when are we going to be doing more with WhatsApp? When are we going to be doing more? And we've been doing a lot for small businesses around the world. And one of the things that we announced over the last couple of days is that there's now 1 million different businesses that are using our Meta Business agents all over the world. And they're using it to connect to their customers, to have 24-hour service, to be able to, to have really rich and deeper conversations with them. But one of the big things we announced is that Meta now is here to help service enterprise organizations as well with all things business agents. So that's huge. And we have a platform now to allow them to be able to do that. And we're moving from a world where it's not just AI that could respond, in a sort of a trope fashion to basic standard questions, to more an agent that can actually act on behalf of the business that's being offered out there. So this is a really exciting step change that we've seen. And the last 2 days have been peppered full of lots of examples from different partners, different clients getting on stage and saying how messaging now is really where customers and consumers are. And if you want to be where they are, then you need to be engaging, especially on WhatsApp.
Absolutely. So you're taking this step into the enterprise space. I'm saying you're partly there already, aren't you? But I know you're taking a big step into it, especially at the moment, and accelerating in that direction. But can you tell me what kind of differences in terms of the product, or what kind of things have you had to change in order to cater to that audience? And what have been the challenges from moving from an SMB product, essentially, into an enterprise product?
Yeah, well, obviously it's a lot more complicated. You're working with big multinationals that are going across different jurisdictions, different countries, and it requires a different level of infrastructure, different layers that you need to bring in. There's obviously a big role here for our partners that we work with as well, that we've been working with for many years, and there's been a whole tract here as well around that area. But also it's in terms of what the resources that we have internally that we're bringing in, because it does require us to behave differently. Than just the way in which we've been on the ad side of the business. So yeah, it's a pretty big change, but it's a really exciting change all the way, from Mark and the board to all the people at the company. We're all very energized by this moment.
So for those who are not familiar with the event and the announcements today, could you just summarize the major announcements from the 2 days?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one is that Meta's all in on enterprise.
Absolutely.
The business agents now are available to be deployed across larger organizations, and we haven't been able to do that before. That we now actively have over 1 million advertisers, and that there is now a platform for not just us, but for others to build on as well, which is really exciting, because you're going to want the agents to do so many different things, and we're building that toolkit as we speak. We're flying and building planes as we speak, but so are others as well that can help those businesses out there that are envisaging an agentic future. Look, messaging has always been very big for us as a company. It's a multi-billion revenue business for us. But I think the thing now, what we're seeing is that if you really want to connect with where consumers are, where people are on messaging. They don't have as much time perhaps to go into lots of different apps all the time, but you can get them where they are in WhatsApp, and that you can do so many things. And we're seeing that already all over the world. If, I travel a lot in my role. I'm in Singapore, I'm in India, I'm in Brazil. It's a way of life to do business on WhatsApp. It doesn't matter what type of business you're in. You can be in the financial industry, you can be in the clothing, you can be in beauty, you can be in automobile. People expect business to be done, answers to be given, service to be given on where they are on WhatsApp. And we've seen actually that, Europe has been behind in this area. And so I think there's a real opportunity for European businesses. And we've had a lot of conversations with our customers from the European countries over the last couple of days to say, yes, you are behind. Let's be honest, you are behind today. But if you just look at where even the UK has been, in the last year, the UK has, I think, trebled, the amount of businesses that are coming on. So you can get there very quickly. So in the way that countries like Brazil and India maybe have taken many years to get to the point that they are today, with the tools, with the infrastructure that we're now putting out there, actually, it's pretty easy to get on board and to start the conversations directly in WhatsApp.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. So I was going to ask you about that, actually, Nicola. You said about Europe is a little bit behind because we're a small business. I use WhatsApp all the time for business purposes, albeit not a specific WhatsApp for business product. But of their million companies, you said, who use WhatsApp for business, what kind of percentage are we talking in Europe then? Is it predominantly North America, South America, places like that? Is it, and Europe, is it quite a small percentage, or what is the split?
I haven't got the specific breakdown, but I don't think it feels like a way of life here.
Yeah, why do you think that is, though?
I think we've been slower to adopt it on this side of the planet. So my encouragement to people out there listening is, you know yourself that you're using it. You know your consumers are using it. Go and meet them where they are.
Yeah.
There was a good example that we had the CIO of Turkish Airlines was on the stage today. And he was talking about the fact that 50% of his passengers actually are new to the airline. And so they're not going to download the app, but he still wants to be able to communicate with them, either to give them a boarding pass or to let them know about maybe there's a friction event that's happened, or etc. So he's gone all in. Yeah. He said, and this is not a thing, and he was very specific, like not a thing to do incrementally. He just really believes that that's where the future is. Yeah. And then when you bring messaging with agents together, that's when you can actually even turn friction moments into loyalty moments. And that's a fantastic thing to think about in terms of how you can really enhance customer loyalty. Yeah, for sure. It's an amazing way for them to, interact with their customers on a platform that they just don't have at the moment with their own app, I suppose, isn't it? So that's really interesting. So can I ask you about payments and sort of the financial element of it in terms of interacting with customers? Can you facilitate that on the platform at the moment? Are there any plans to grow that part of it? That's one of the number one things that people ask is like, people want to have as little friction as possible because you never want to drop a sale. In some jurisdictions, it's easier than others, but that's certainly an area of focus for us. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough then. So in terms of companies who are using AI for business purposes at the moment, what do you say to them to flip over to the WhatsApp for Business product? What are the main benefits of using the actual product? Yeah, so there's so many different benefits depending on what your business objective is. But what I'm really feeling, and certainly the energy around this conference, is I think the reality is that people understand messaging and people understand agents, but actually both are enhanced when you use both together. And so you make the conversation that you have with the consumer so much richer and such a greater potential. So we also had a senior representative from PepsiCo, Johnny, was here, and he was talking about how they started an idea for the World Cup. They're a big sponsor of the World Cup. The first time, actually, they're sponsoring the World Cup. And they had this idea around watch parties, which started as a very small idea, but suddenly has mushroomed around the world. So it didn't start global. It's now global. They now have over 5 million their consumers on their channels, which for context is as big as, or sometimes bigger than, some of the really big football teams that you know about around the world. And they see this now as a really core part, not just of their marketing campaign and not just something for the World Cup, but something that's going to endure, that they really have this direct backwards and forwards relationship. And we've seen that with, with things like SMS. You would put a message out, but you couldn't get the message back. Yeah, sure. And that's actually quite frustrating for a consumer. Now you can have this ongoing dialogue, this where discourse, you can have, much richer conversations. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you started about, this unique location that we're in. We're in the heart of Westminster. It's really old London. Yeah. And one of the things that I was talking about earlier was the fact that actually Westminster Hall, that's been around since, the 11th century, by the 14th century, this was the place where people were gathering, the judges, the royal members of the royal family. By the 14th century, it's where the merchants were as well. Yeah. And the merchants were, lining the walls, and they would go in there and they would know you deeply. They would know your families. They would know why you were buying and all of these things. And I think over time, businesses lost a lot of that personalization, a lot of that relationship. And I think with agents, you have the opportunity to get back again and messaging the two together to really really understand the consumer, to really preempt what the consumer is thinking about, build long-term loyalty and build greater growth for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I do like about this is that when you are interacting with customers, through the platform, you're essentially training the model
Correct.
for the agents. Do you know what I mean? So it's constantly progressive. And then when I was talking to a lady upstairs, one of your technical people, about when there's a point of escalation, when the agent can't solve the problem and the human has to step in.
Yeah.
But these get minimized over time because of the constant development of the model, which I thought was fantastic. So, can you talk in terms of that? Then, you sort of in terms of technical challenges of doing that? How have you found this product in terms of development from a technical standpoint? I know you're not involved in that yourself, but I'm just saying, has it been difficult to create this model, to have this continuous development element to it, or is it sort of something that's plugged in quite well with your LLM, with the WhatsApp, the Meta LLM?
Yeah, so not just within our own side of the business, but also working with the client as well, and bringing in their technical aspect also. It means that we do more with FDEs coming in to help on the business, to bring the two together. I think that's a really important part of it also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's fascinating. So, I just wanted to ask you then about the other products you've talked about in the last 2 days. What other things have you been excited about in terms of the product releases?
Well, so there's so much going on at the company at the moment. I think about the fact that it's only recently that we announced the launch of MuseSpark, which is our first model out of the Meta Superintelligence Lab, which was only 9 months in the making. And so that's it's really extraordinary that, Alex Wang and the gang kind of brought that together so quickly. And that really has kind of been a step change in kind of visual. And in shopping, that's another aspect as well, because again, the LLM, the models can know so much more about you to really serve up things that it thinks and can anticipate that you're going to like and that you're going to enjoy. So I think bringing all of these things together as we move more into an agentic world, it feels a really exciting time to be at Meta. Well, one of the other examples that we've had here speaking is Movida. On this side of the planet, people might perhaps not know about them, but they're a big car rental company in Brazil. Alex Schultz, our global CMO, was joking about the fact that if you'd have told me, I'd have got really excited about a car rental company coming into this conference. I probably would have been a bit surprised, but it really is unbelievable. So you go into WhatsApp, you've got the number, and you start straight away an intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
I want to rent a car. I'm going to be in this city. This is the kind of car I like. Show me the availability. Show me the different price ranges. Show me the different cars. And it's really intelligent. And then if you might get distracted, you come back. So I went back and then I was like, I'm thinking about it again. And they went, oh, we already know. We've been talking about it. You were saying these were your dates. These are kind of cars. What more do you need to know? What more information? You go, that's so seamless. That's so good.
Absolutely.
And so, the tech that's powering that behind is almost something that the consumer doesn't need to know about.
No, of course.
Because we want to make it look effortless and simple for them.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's the key to further adoption, is how seamless it is. You've got to make it easy for people to use this stuff.
Yes.
And easy for them to want to put their data into the platform. This episode was brought to you by Be Digital. Be Digital support leadership teams to optimize cost and get more out of technology investments. Be Digital and the team have unrivaled expertise with technology license management and data remediation, and are therefore perfectly positioned to help prepare organizations for AI technology capability. And on the last point, Be Digital have developed a cutting-edge AI readiness assessment, which provides tech leaders with a platform they need to make well-informed decisions about AI adoption strategy. Go to bedigitaluk.com to find out more and get in touch. I'm sure you've been asked about this before. Obviously, businesses are essentially giving you their customer data. They're giving you their data. What do you do to safeguard organizations and their data from a security standpoint?
Yeah, look, this is absolutely fundamental to the kind of the heart of our company, which is we have to have trust, and there has to be trust in the security around the data that companies and people are giving to us. It's why we have a chief privacy officer, Michelle Protti, is in charge of all this. No products that are created on any of our platforms or in any way with any of our models have to go through very strict privacy review from the very moment, even before we start to kind of create them. And they have to go through those safe checks. They have to be signed off beforehand. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a business. So I'm actually really proud of the work that the team does in that area.
Yeah. Okay. Now, good answer. So I wanted to ask you about enterprise AI adoption, more broadly speaking, more generally. AI for a lot of businesses at the moment is just, something you put queries into, you get information back that you can act on. But the next stage of that is obviously the agentic AI, where the AI does the work for you. Okay, I know your platform solves a lot of that, and it takes organizations from a LLM world into an agentic AI world, which is a different world, isn't it?
Very much.
But what is the biggest barriers to enterprise adoption of agentic AI, in your opinion? Is it governance? Is it technology? Is it people? What are the biggest barriers?
I don't think there's one answer to that. I think it's a combination of all the things that you spoke about. I think it does start with the individual leader. Does the individual leader, are they leaning in? Are they using it themselves? Do they?
So you're talking about the culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they really fully understand what it means to do this? So one of the things that I've certainly, and Mark has encouraged at our company, is that we want people to kind of get messy with the tools, play with things, challenge with them, and kind of really learn and experiment. It's not something where you can get somebody else to do it for you, because I don't think you'll have as good an understanding and comprehension of what is possible. So I'm doing it not just in my work life, but I'm doing it in my personal life as well, to make sure that I'm staying on top of the models. And personally, I'm pretty vulnerable with my teams, but if something hasn't gone well, I talk about it. And also, I've made the time, if you want to get strong on something, take the cues from the gym. You got to go on a regular basis, get those muscles going. I'm doing, it's true. I'm doing half an hour a day of learning, either by myself or with a buddy.
Yeah.
And it's better with a buddy because you can debate backwards and forwards, or you use the agents as the buddy, or, your claws to help you kind of solve the problems of where you might be stuck or where you're thinking of. And I think it's through that has kind of allowed me to be able to have better depth of conversation about what my expectations are, but then also being clear about what things can be used with agents. So the clear documentation of the workflows, how you evolve that, but also where people matter and where people are going to make the difference also.
No, absolutely. I love the gym analogy as well. That's a good one. But just in terms of organizations making that shift over to agentic AI, can we talk a little bit about governance? And do you think organizations are struggling to have the right governance in place right now, from a security and trust standpoint especially, but just governance in its own right? Is AI governance mature enough for agentic AI implementation at this point within most companies, do you think?
I think that's a big absolute. I think it is in some companies, and I think in some companies they're working towards a path where it can and will be so. Interestingly, we've seen a lot of the financial institutions moving very heavily into this area. And I kind of think if it works for the financial industry and that sector, then it should be able to work for anybody. But I think it goes back to the previous question, where there needs to be the desire and the willingness from the top to really embrace and make the shift. And I think if you don't have the kind of C-suite, we had the CEO of Movida here. We've had lots of CEOs here because they saw it, they embraced it. And I think it comes from that leadership position.
Yeah. Do you think your enterprise platform will help businesses, not just in terms of interacting with customers, but interact with suppliers? So I'm talking about more of the inward-facing element of running a business. Do you envisage it being used for that purpose as well? So that they can get better value out of their IT investments and things like that, HR and stuff like that. Is that a big part of the product as well, the inward-facing elements?
I love the fact that whenever we launch any new products, everybody's always, yeah, but what's next? How do you see? What do you envisage?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it to you, what you see that we could do. And one of the things that we're certainly here on is really listening and learning from the people that we're partnering with, the businesses that we're partnering with, to say, what else is it that you want? What else would you expect to be able to see? And so, let's see. We're just kicking it off. This is the first time we've really entered the enterprise space at scale.
Yeah, I just think that the use cases are, I wouldn't say endless, but they are, there's a lot of use cases, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you get agentic AI right, then it can do inward and outward facing activities within the company. So I just think the inward element, getting businesses being run more efficient with the assistance of AI agents, that's a really exciting potential use case, isn't it?
Oh, well, I think one of the things about what we're doing is that there are so many different areas that we could look to explore. And one of the things for Meta is always about what are the things that you focus on and what are the things that you don't. So I guess watch this space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what are the most, in terms of the ideal sort of companies you've got traction with so far, in terms of what type of industries is this suitable for? Could you talk us through the ideal buyer persona for the platform?
Yeah, it's one of the things of moving into enterprise has meant that actually the buying committee is actually very different from perhaps the buyers that we've been used to in the past. We're seeing it work across all different verticals, all different aspects of industry, a lot more interactions with CIOs, CTOs, often CFOs, because these can be quite substantial changes to an organization. So yes, many different people out there.
So I just wanted to stay on the AI adoption for enterprise sort of element of it then. What are the biggest mistakes organizations are making in terms of AI adoption in your view?
Well, actually,
what are the pitfalls?
I asked this question earlier, so I'm going to actually give it from the other side of people that are adopting with us at pace and give their answer, which is they went too small. They didn't think ambitiously enough. The experiments that they did were too small. And if they had hindsight and 2020 vision, kind of looking backwards, they would have gone much bigger, much quicker.
Yeah.
And they also said that they made assumptions about things to do with WhatsApp or the platform or what the agents could do that they should have just asked us. So it's like, actually just ask us if something is possible or is that on the roadmap? Because and that would have actually saved them their own angst, time wasted, and they could have moved much quicker and faster.
Yeah, for sure. What are you most excited about in terms of the use cases of your platform?
Well, I'm really excited about, I think the world where we go to from here, we're just starting, but you can see very quickly how you get agents to agents starting to speak together. Another example, Alex.
That's where the real progress is going to be made, isn't it? When you've got agents training on it.
But it's not that far away, and we're already starting to see some of that actually already happening. But you can start to see how it can make a massive difference in both your personal life and also in your work life as well. Alex was giving the example of, imagining planning and preparing a child's 4th birthday party. So you'll have an agent that will help you with that. It will know the sorts of hall that you need to rent in your local area, but also probably speaking to, the agents of all your child's friends, to see what the date's most suitable, where you get the cake, can you order it, where do you pick it up? And all that can kind of be happening in the background. That's a huge amount of time that is saved. That's a huge amount. Making sure that you're not leaving it all to the last minute, because how many of us have all kind of had that problem where you're kind of looking around the supermarket late at night going, where's the cake, or what can I do? So that's just one tiny example of how it's going to change our lives, but it's going to work in so many different areas across so many different aspects.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very well said. So I wanted to get your view. I know we haven't got too much time left, but I wanted to get your view on the UK. I know you've done a lot of stuff with the UK government, and you obviously operate in an international market. How does the UK fare on the global stage in terms of AI entrepreneurialism and just basically the industry, the AI industry? How do we compete on the global stage, in your opinion?
Yeah, so Look, I think the UK has just been named again one of the tech leaders in Europe, so that's a good sign for the UK. But I think this is an industry that is moving so fast that one shouldn't rest on our laurels. I said to you earlier that in the last year, the industry's really leaned in on messaging, and from messaging, you move to agents pretty quickly. So I'm excited about that. But I think that's the call, which is that we need to keep making sure that we're innovating and testing and learning and leaning in.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, there's many other countries around the world that are. And certainly, as I said, even with that kind of acceleration in the last year, it's still behind what's going on in Asia. It's still behind what's going on in Latin America. But the gap and the ability to close it is quicker than it's ever been.
Sure.
And so I would encourage the businesses that are listening to this today to get curious, get hungry, and do it, because that's what consumers want, and that's where consumers are.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about talent into are we producing the right talent in the UK to continue this progression and this acceleration of AI innovation, in your opinion? And how do we stack up there?
Yeah, look, I'm as a mom of 4 kids, so that's thrown kids into the workforce. I've always been bullish on the talent in the UK. We have some of the best universities in the world, but I think it's the ecosystem that infuses each other. Plus, let's not forget also the creative industries that are here. A lot of industry, countries can have, very great strength in the technical side, but I actually think it's the creative side and the two kind of meshing together, which is why that I think the UK is as innovative and entrepreneurial as it is.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, look, Nicola, thank you so much for talking to the Tech Leaders podcast. It's been a brilliant interview and a brilliant summary of what's gone on in the last 2 days. What else have you got planned for the rest of the day? And what do you want to leave? What's the part? Have you got any parting thoughts for our listeners?
Look, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been so exciting to be here with you in such a historic, extraordinary building with the background. I wish you could all see the buzz and the atmosphere that is kind of going on all around us. Yeah. I, for one, am going to be seeing a lot more partners and our clients towards the rest of the day. But look, my messaging, as you asked, how would I wrap up? I would say that if you're not using AI as a business leader, you should. You're behind. Yeah. So you need to put in the work to start to do that. If you're not communicating with your consumers through messaging, you should. You'll be left behind. And if you're not building towards an agentic future, you should, because you'll be left behind. But the combination of all of those things together is really what can give you and catapult you to give you the competitive advantage to get you to faster growth, more interesting growth, newer customers, and stronger, more loyal customers as well. Why? Because it's replicating how business was always done, that you understand your consumer better than you ever did. You're able to help your consumer better than you ever did, and you're able to anticipate your consumer better than you ever did. And Meta, well, we're building all those things in order to help realize that vision to come true.
Fantastic. Very well said. Thank you so much, Nicola.
Thank you.
Wow, I love that. That was a fab conversation. A huge thank you to Nicola for taking the time to join us during what was an incredibly hectic couple of days. So we really appreciate it. There were plenty of interesting takeaways from that discussion. We only had 30 minutes, but it felt like it was longer. But the real standout for me was Nicola's perspective on enterprise AI adoption. So much of the conversation focuses around AI and the risks of AI and the challenges and the barriers. But Nicola's view was that many organizations simply aren't being ambitious enough. They need to really lean into this. And I thought that was fantastic. And I actually agree with that as well. She also made a point that really did stick with me, was that if you're not using AI, you're already behind. And whether you agree with that statement or not, it's hard to argue that AI is no longer a future discussion. It's a present-day business reality. And the organizations that learn how to adopt it effectively with the right governance, data, and operating models in place are likely to have a significant advantage over those that don't. It's as simple as that. But as always, thank you so much for listening to the Tech Leaders podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you on the next one. This episode was brought to you by Be Digital. Be Digital support leadership teams to optimize cost and get more out of technology investments. Be Digital and the team have unrivaled expertise with technology, license management, and data remediation, and are therefore perfectly positioned to help prepare organizations for AI technology capability. And on the last point, Be Digital have developed a cutting-edge AI readiness assessment, which provides tech leaders with a platform they need to make well-informed decisions about AI adoption strategy. Go to Be Digital UK to find out more and get in touch.